Hello and welcome to another episode of One Another Marriage with Dr. David and Theresa Mabry, where we seek to strengthen couples for greater satisfaction and impact on the world around you, because this is the way we see it, that the stronger you are, the healthier you are as a couple, the more influence, positive influence you have on those that are immediately around you and beyond. So we're excited that you've joined us today again, for some of you, and for the first time for others. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. We are glad that you are with us today. Hey, can you believe we're in August? I know we're almost to the end.
Does it feel like it's never going to end?
No, I think for me, it feels like,
because you just said that like it's just began.
No, I feel like with August, it's one of those months you just want to savor it. And because you feel that end to kind of summer, but it is still summer. Mm-hmm. And like, you don't want to jump too far ahead. And so then you want to savor it. But then like, I feel like I'm looking at our calendar and I'm like, good golly, where did the time go? We were just at August 1st. And here we are.
For me, it's like weather dependent, which I'm guessing a lot of other people are like this too. It's like the better the weather is, because we've had some really beautiful mild days and some super hot days, but some mild days here in Central Ohio. And it's those days that you're like, boy, drink it in, enjoy it while it's here, while it is here. Right. So yeah, you're right. Here we are in the middle of August.
Here we are.
You may be listening to this in the middle of December for the first time, and we're glad you have. In fact, if you are listening to this and it's in the middle of December, go to our Facebook page and say, hey, I'm listening to the August podcast for the first time in the middle of December.
It'll make you feel like summer. There you go.
We'll give you a shout out. If you do that, we'll be like,
we will.
Hey, don't fake it either. Because I can imagine somebody going, hey, I think I'm going to pull a fast one on the Mabrys.
All right. Well, hi friends. Hi friends. We're excited about today because today's episode is going to be common phrases that healthy couples should have with one another. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so these are just some ones that we have found helpful not only to our marriage, but to the marriages that we are in community with, that are a healthy marriage. And we watch those spouses and how they communicate with each other. And these are just the ones that we kind of hear on an ongoing basis. So that is going to be the episode level today. But before we begin with that, last week we did not share a puzzle because we were doing our conversation starters or the last podcast. And so today, though, we're back to sharing a puzzle. And if it's your first time with us, a puzzle, this is just a great way to increase your connection with each other, where one of you can share a puzzle, something that's just causes you to kind of go, wonder why that is. And just, it can be about anything, but here's the thing, puzzles should not be about your spouse or your partner. So you want to keep that away from them, but there's no solution to them, no need to solve them. The other person, you're just listening, kind of gives you a snapshot into the brain of your partner. So David, you have the puzzle for today.
I do.
All right.
And
I'm ready.
Try your best not to respond. I mean, it's maybe a challenge for you because you may share the same kind of puzzle. But this is what I'm puzzled by, is that places you go where pens are available and pens that you write with, right?
Yes.
And
P-E-N-S, pens.
And it's puzzling to me why pens continue to survive in a cup or location after they're no longer working properly. When the ink has run out, or even the clicker thing, if it's a clicker kind, or there's something wrong, that puzzles me why. And I know it's part of me too, because I have a kind of a pet peeve. Would you call it a pet peeve?
Yes, I was going to say.
I love throwing pens away.
Yes.
I love it. I love when a pen doesn't work. I'm like, yes, I get to throw this one away, because it does puzzle me why pens survive after. Because I've seen people use pens, and I have no animosity towards people who do this, by the way, but people who use a pen and it's clearly run out and they shake it down, or they do whatever strategy. I've seen some people like take a lighter and light the end of it before. Yeah, I know. I don't know what that's all about, but I'm sure someone out there understands that.
Who are you hanging around with that is setting a pen on fire?
No, it doesn't set it on fire, but it kind of just I don't know what it's supposed to do.
You just said you don't know what it's supposed to do.
But it's not to set it on fire. It's to warm up the tip of it so that it works properly. And then, but people that would have it not work, and then they turn around and put it into the container and pull out another one. Or they put it back in that drawer, or they put
back in their purse.
Somebody else is going to grab it and use that pen. And so my puzzle for today, honey, is why people don't throw away pens? Why there are so many useless pens that are out there that
as you sit across from me holding a pen, is that a good one or a bad one?
This is actually one that I've had for a long time. It is a Prepare Enrich pen.
Oh, wow.
It does not have the little thingy on the side. What is that called? I say thingy. That's real technical, but it's the
it's the little it's what you would use to clasp it to something, slide it along.
What is the name of the thing
that's a puzzle.
On the side of the pen that causes it to stay in one's pocket or to...
It's the doohickey.
The doohickey.
Or it's the thingamajig.
Thingamajig. I said thingy.
Thingy. I don't know. Now that is a puzzle. What is the name of that little clasp thing that you would slide it and attach?
I've had this Prepare Enrich one, but hold on.
Yeah, you have had that for a while.
Yep, still works. So I'm going to keep it. I'm not going to throw it away. But if you we're recording next to my desk, and I guarantee that not one pen in my pen holder over there is not working. Every one of them work.
Every one of them work. Okay, I think I heard a challenge in that. Mm-hmm. So when we're done with the podcast today, I'm going to pull out every single writing utensil pen that you have in there. If I find one that is not working, I'm telling all the peeps next time we're recording.
I challenge you.
Okay, I challenge your challenge. Challenge your challenge, bub.
That's a call out. That is a shout out to our children in an old show they used to watch that used to say, I challenge your challenge, it challenged my challenge. It's really silly, but it's so there
I challenge your challenge. That's right. Okay, well, hey, thanks for that puzzle.
Ladies and gentlemen, who else out there has that puzzle about pens that you grab and that do not work?
Well, I think there's probably a healthy amount of people that are like, yeah, I'm with you. You know, I mean, I know as at the child care center, markers. We don't have pens as much, but markers. And so when kids grab a marker and they are trying to color with it and it's pretty much dried up, or it's not as vibrant of a color as what it used to be. And so our rule always is, if it's dried up, you can take it and go throw it away. It gives them great satisfaction to get up and go and toss it into the trash can.
And which
then,
is a great idea.
You know, I'm like, okay, we got that, because otherwise I would probably have a whole bin of just
same principle applies.
Yeah, just like crappy markers. So it's like,
markers,
okay.
Yeah, markers that don't work. I remember teaching teaching classes for a local university, and I would walk in and I would grab a dry erase marker and I would go to write with it, and not one of them. In fact, it would drive me crazy. It didn't drive me crazy. It was just a pet peeve that a dry erase marker would be sitting on the board like shelf there, and the cap would be off of it.
Yeah.
And who knows how long someone just used it and set it down.
Yeah.
And then it's all dried up and useless. And so I would throw it away. I began taking my own markers to class.
It's true.
So that I knew that I always had
a fresh one.
A fresh marker at all times. But those are issues that I have.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. David has issues. There we go. And probably an issue is that we have spent entirely way too much time on this puzzle and discussion, because I feel that both of us could head down that rabbit trail. I mean,
Well-
I already threw in markers. Then you brought it to dry erase markers. I have the same thing. And even with my little kids, they know, like, if you're using a marker, you put the cap back on, because if you don't, it dries out and then we have to throw it away.
There you go.
And if they abuse it so much that all of them are leaving them off, then the solution is that they get no more markers.
Well, you know what I say to that?
So
I say, you're welcome, my friends.
you're welcome.
The Mabrys just did you all a favor. Go clear out your pen collection, even now, your marker collection.
Well, because everybody has that junk drawer that has probably a load of pencils, pens, markers.
That's right. That's right. So here we go. Let's go to the substance of the podcast.
The substance of the podcast.
The substance of the podcast would be this, ladies and gentlemen, and that is, we began thinking about common phrases that healthy couples use.
Yeah.
And we thought that it would be helpful because there's, for us, almost 30 years of marriage that you and I have, we use some phrases that we've learned. We did not have these early in our marriage.
Right.
And it makes me think, though, honey, about how, like, I know that there are many couples out there that are listening that have only been married a short time, or you're not yet married. You're engaged, or you just or
you're dating, or whatever.
You're dating. You're early in your relationship, and just think if you were able to pick up key phrases and most importantly, the sentiment behind each of the phrases. If you were to pick that up early in your marriage or early in your relationship, how much further will you be along, especially if you make it a habit? And these are phrases that we would say that you need to adopt for the life of your relationship, in which we are hoping that's a lifetime, a healthy, vitalized, long-lasting relationship. So that's the core of what we're sharing today. And we have a list of 7, and there may be more that you would add on. There are some that you would like to modify how we phrase it, which is absolutely fine. That's why we say the sentiment behind each phrase. Right.
Okay. Well, you have the list there.
I do.
Babe.
I'm going to spring the list.
So,
I'm the lead. I'm the lead on the list.
David is going to be the lead on the list.
Teresa's going to correct me as we go.
All right. I'm not going to. Why am I going to correct you?
No, there's nothing to be corrected.
But we are going to, you have the list in front of you. You're going to put the common phrase out there, and then we're going to dialogue about it. So here we go.
Okay, so each phrase, by the way, hear us clearly. This is on a regular basis, not necessarily daily. Some of these will be daily. Some of these will be throughout the day. Some of these will be weekly, whatever. But this first one, we want to encourage that at least once a day, you turn to your partner and say, I love you.
Yep, that's a good one. There we go. I love you. There you go. That's yours for today.
There you go. I love you.
There you go. Right. I love you.
If you all were to see Theresa Mabry's face just now when she said that cracked me up.
I know.
That's right. You're so sincere. I love it.
I know. No, it is true. Yeah.
Well,
I love you.
I love you, Theresa.
Well, thank you. Thank you, hon. Yeah. Well, I think that is a phrase that you and I use on a regular basis if we're on the phone together.
Yeah.
So like I called you as I was leaving work today to head home to ask you to do something for me. And a regular for each of us, even though, I mean, our phone call was maybe a minute. Yeah. I don't even know. It might have been just a minute long.
We just got down to business.
Yeah. Well, there was a simple request, and we always end our phone messages with each other by saying, okay, love you. We don't necessarily say, I love you, but it's like, love you, and then the other person responds. Then we're like, okay, bye.
You know what confuses me, though, is that speaking of kind of way we communicate to each other, is that I haven't quite got down how to email you. Like response. It feels awkward to me to finish an email to you. We rarely email one another.
I was going to say,
but
there's not.
It's usually when I'm forwarding something, or I'm like communicating. It's like
with the nature of the biz.
Yeah, I don't. To our children as well. It's like love Dad, and for you, love David, but it's like it feels weird to sign an email off to you Are you okay with that?
Yes. Right.
Perfect. I'm
fine with that.
I'm glad we had this conversation today.
I know sometimes when I have emailed the kids or have forwarded you something or sent something to you, sometimes I find myself just saying as the ending, I'll just say like loves,
Yes.
Loves, loves, and that's it. I don't sign mom or Theresa or whatever. I just end it with loves. It's like my tagline.
Well, because you know who it's from.
Sure, exactly.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah.
Next phrase.
So yes, I love you.
I love you.
Very important to say and to be meaningful when you say it.
Yeah.
So I know I was joking earlier with it, but
Find the best time for you as a couple to say that. Some people, it's each morning as you are parting for work or parting for the day. Sometimes it's at the very end of the day. If
Coming
it's not multiple
home.
times.
Yeah,
If
multiple
sometimes
times, right.
for some of you, it's meaningful for every ending of every conversation, like on the phone or interaction, especially if you don't see each other during the day. Like many of you we know that are working from home, you're around each other a lot more than what you may have been like 2 years ago or a year and a half previous. And so finding that time to be able to say it on a regular basis is very important. The second phrase, let's go to the second one. So these, out of the 7, here's number 2.
In no particular order.
In no particular order. But healthy couples on a regular basis say to one another, I forgive you, or will you forgive me?
That is an important one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to be able to ask for forgiveness because, I mean, we're going to be wrong. There's going to be things that we do to each other that are going to be hurtful. And the best advice we could give you is to go ask for forgiveness and then extend that forgiveness when necessary.
Yes.
But you have to get into the practice of doing it. And it's not easy. It's not always easy to be the one to have to go say, hey, you know what? I really messed up here. Will you forgive me? But the more you practice it, the more muscle memory it becomes. And it just speaks life so much into marriages.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to be able to forgive each other, to extend that forgiveness and to ask for it. And that's a huge phrase that we would definitely want our healthy couples should be practicing on a regular basis.
So seeking and granting forgiveness is so important for every single couple. And both of those parts, seeking and granting, and knowing the heart of your partner. Now, I think we extend it just a little bit more and say sometimes it's small matters. Sometimes it's kind of medium level matters. Sometimes it's major. Sometimes couples deal with if there's infidelity or if there's a major point of dishonesty, a major point of dishonesty of there's been a hurt and pain that's been caused by one or the other. And there must be a point that you verbalize, I confess this. I see how this has hurt you. Will you forgive me? Which, and also include in there, I will make every effort at not repeating that same thing. And then to be able to say, I forgive you. And then for the one granting forgiveness, actually saying, yes, that did hurt. That was hurtful. And thank you for saying what you did, and I forgive you. So to go through that very deliberate process of seeking and granting forgiveness. But healthy couples do this. Now, hear us saying clearly too, healthy couples do not do things to cause the need for seeking and granting forgiveness. So healthy couples aren't absent of hurting one another in some way or another, a small, medium, or large ways. But there are times that, you're going to let your partner down, and to be able to say, hey, maybe small matters come across more as, sorry about that. I dropped the ball, and I apologize.
And it can even be just as simple as that. Right there, just like how you said it. I think sometimes too many people get caught up in, well, I'm not going to say it correctly, or I have to use a certain verbiage to get it across. But even just what you just shared there, hey, I dropped the ball on this. Sorry, that will you forgive me? I mean, that's
Yeah, we're not big fans, by the way, of seeking and granting forgiveness via text.
Yeah.
For medium size and large things, small matters you may get away with that as a couple, and we'll be like, okay, that's fine.
Right.
But for if there's really been hurt and pain, my friends, don't do it via text.
Yeah, you got to be in person.
I'd say face the challenge. Don't skirt the looking someone in the eye and doing that.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Number three.
Mm-hmm.
Number three. This phrase, you can say this phrase in use your own verbiage for this. But for us, the phrase is, healthy couples say, "I hear you saying." There's an expression of, so the sentiment behind this is there's an expression of active listening.
Right.
Now, if it's awkward for you, or if you're not comfortable with kind of a way of saying, "So I hear you saying this, blah, blah, blah." But you may have a different way of doing it. Do I understand you to say this or that? It's the sentiment behind it is that you are seeking to understand your partner, genuinely understand your partner. So the phrase we use is, "I hear you saying," is, and I'll catch myself, and you do this a lot with me as well, is like, so is this what you're saying? Is this understanding? And understand there's no snarkiness behind that. So what you're saying is, it's no attitude behind it. It's a genuine seeking to understand what your partner is saying.
Right. Yeah, we actually had this recently because we were logistically going through some things that were going to be happening, and there were going to be some moving pieces and parts because we were helping our daughter move into her new apartment. So we were going to be picking up a truck. I was coming home from work. Our son, one of our sons, was coming to help. There was going to be, and I remember just, and that all took place just a few days ago. And so I remember kind of like listening to you. You were kind of taking the lead on some of that, but I listened, and then I remember saying like, "Okay, so I hear you saying," and I ticked through the list, and then you were kind of like, "Yep, that's it. Yeah, that's good." Yeah. And we did have one correction that we kind of like made with each other, but sometimes we catch ourselves with that correction, right? Because it's like, "Oh, wait, no, let's do it this way," or "Yeah, I forgot to add in this." So it's very helpful, especially when because we had a short amount of time to have that discussion, and I just needed to listen, hear what the plan was, and then reiterate if I heard you correctly.
Well, this is an antidote for mind reading.
Yeah, exactly.
And my friends, your spouse cannot read your mind.
What?
Yeah, exactly. Shocker.
I know.
So your partner cannot read your mind, ladies and gentlemen. So don't assume. Make sure you get the straight story. But at the same time, don't look at your partner and say, "Okay, repeat back to me right now."
Yeah.
like an accusatory, "I know you're not listening to me."
Right.
So that motherly, that's sorry moms to pick on you, but that motherly or that parent like positioning that you may take with your spouse. Don't do it.
Yep. Yeah, you can just see it right there. "Oh yeah, smarty pants. Tell me what I said then." Yeah, that's not.
Which that would drive me crazy.
That's not what we're condoning or saying. But yeah, that phrase right there. Good Lord, I don't even know how long we've used that, but it's been very helpful, especially like I said, when we're going to have several different things happening or going on, and there's, especially with logistics or details, it's just so helpful to be able to repeat back what you kind of hear so that you know the plan. You got the plan.
Yeah, because friends, how many times have you been, and you and I, Theresa, we've done this before where it's like, "No, I heard you say this," like after the fact. Yeah. And it becomes a little bit of a tense moment, right? Or even sometimes a lot of a tense moment for couples. And for us, it's like, "No, I heard you say this or that." It's like, or that's not that wasn't my understanding. And it's so much easier to clear that ahead of time. And we are by no means perfect on this. Like, no, we have our moments where we look at each other and go, "That is not what I said.
That is not what happened." Yeah. So, absolutely. And I was just thinking that too. I was like, yeah, we definitely want to make sure that you understand as listeners, this is not we hit 100% every single time that we engage in this type of a phrase with each other. But once again, looking back at the sentiment with which you're trying to do it and the practice of it, it can be one of those phrases that just really can speak into the health and vibrancy of your relationship, because it allows for that active listening and just kind of like making sure that both parties have clearly understood. And when it doesn't happen that way, by all means, give grace. Good Lord.
Yeah. And be patient with your spouse or your partner with their repeating back or their seeking of clarification. Don't be impatient of like I just said this, okay? Because once again, they are not your child. Please do not talk to them like you are their parent. So here we go. Number 4.
Next one
would be, what would be most helpful to me would be the ability. So the phrase is the ability to communicate to your partner what you want to be, that would be helpful to accomplish. Like, this is how you could be helpful to me. Once again, a lot of these phrases have a lot to do with not expecting mind reading or you should know this already. So it's what would be helpful to me today would be. Now, this is part of our daily communication tool called Love Step Goals, which is to each day turn to your partner, and the part of it would be to serve one another.
Right.
This is how you can be of service to me today, to help me today, to be a helpmate, to be a partner in whatever we're accomplishing this day. This is so helpful. I appreciate it, because I appreciate it when you tell me, like, because I need things be made very clear, because I'm just sometimes I just put my head down and just do what I need to do for that day. And unless you tell me, like, hey, this would be, can you accomplish this before I get home today? Or can you just, and it's super helpful to me for that clear communication.
Like that phone call I gave earlier.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right.
You asked for me to get something started for lunch for you. I was here working in the office, and it helped you because you had worked an extra long day today.
And
so you had your lunch was pushed back.
Right.
And so it was helpful to you if I had lunch ready, because you also had some timing issues and you need to click away. It would have been super helpful, and it was helpful to have lunch kind of there and ready.
Right.
And I was available to do that.
Yes. And today I was specific with you of, hey, can you go ahead and give me, go ahead and get my baked sweet potato going or whatever. So, And so that was a clear direction, because I could have come home and then I could have been like, did he see what time it was? And doesn't he know I'm running in late? And then we had something else. And so for me to assume that you would just automatically help me. Now, on the counter of that is sometimes your spouse or your partner has gone ahead and done something for you that has been helpful. Therefore, you should always be following up with hey, you know what? Thanks for going ahead and getting my lunch prepped. Or thank you so much for taking care of, paying that bill. And I'll make sure that the envelope makes it out to get into the mailbox. Yeah. Yes, people, there are still some bills that we pay that we mail in. They are not just an auto pay put on there. I know that's like going by the wayside. They're probably like, what?
We still use shekels.
You guys use the United States Post Office? Yes, we do.
Which that's a good puzzle there too. It's like, I was thinking,
how much longer before the
post office is obsolete?
Post office is obsolete. Yeah.
Well, it won't be obsolete as long as junk mail keeps coming.
Oh my gosh.
Because I'm telling you what.
Yeah.
We should track that. We should track
how many pieces of junk mail we get?
No, the number of days in a row that we have mail of
we got 2 today.
Of mail of insignificance. to us. Like we don't want advertisements. If I want you,
Yep.
I'll come find you.
So
as a business, right?
So today in the mailbox, when I came home and I walked down to get it, the 2 pieces of mail we had were exactly that.
And where do they go instantly?
Recycle bin.
Our recycle bin is predominantly unwanted mail delivered by the Postal Service.
Right.
Nothing against,
Nothing against those
postal workers out there that are listening. No offense.
They don't have anything to do with it. They're delivering it, but that doesn't mean that it's
got a job.
Right. Yeah. They're required to put it in everybody's thing. Anyway.
I know. So here's the deal.
Here we are. So
here's the deal then. I want to finish this thought. This is very important.
Okay.
We should keep track and find out what the record is on the length of days, because yes, while we do pay some bills and we do still get some bills via Postal Service, not many anymore.
Right.
Now, that tied into number 5 though.
To say, make sure that you're saying, hey, you know what? Thanks for taking care of that for me, or thank you for helping out, or like, yesterday you took care of mowing the lawn, and I remember saying to you like, hey babe, thanks for mowing the lawn. That was helpful to get it done. So, which
I have to say that's number 5. Good job. You covered number 5. Number 1, I love you. Number 2, I forgive you or will you forgive me? So seeking and granting forgiveness. Number 3 is I hear you saying. So a seeking to understand phrase. And then number 4, we just finished, was what would be most helpful to me today. And you did a great job of leading us to the next one, which is healthy couples on a regular basis use the phrase I appreciate or thank you for on a regular basis. And in fact, research would show, we said this before, and you know what? If we're a broken record for you folks, keep the record going, keep it skipping, because these are things that are so important to hear. So appreciate your partner, your spouse on a regular basis. Say thank you. And you've summarized that well already. Make this part of your regular vocabulary. Recognize the goodness that your partner brings to the table and how they're contributing to the partnership and to the family that you have. It's after a while, when this is not done, individuals begin dying on the vine, right? That's food for the soul being recognized. And you may say, that's not like my love language, or I don't need all those words of affirmation. I don't need that. But still, you need to know that you're an important part of the team.
Yeah.
So there you go. So appreciations and what you are thankful for is number 5. Does that mean we're ready for number 6?
It does.
Number 6. Here it goes. The number 6 phrase that healthy couples use with one another is connected to that number 4 a little bit, but let's broaden it a little bit. So it would be, on a regular basis, couples, individuals in a relationship turn to one another and say, I want or I wish more or less of something. So they're able to be assertive with their partner with what they want more or less of. So the phrase would be, hey, I want this, or I wish for this, and they're not afraid to. Now, where we've seen this recently, just working with some couples, and an easy one is we notice that there are many couples, not all, but many couples struggle with talking about areas of sexual intimacy.
Right.
And because it's, for some reason, for various reasons, that is beyond the scope of this podcast, especially today, is that in our culture, it is still yet a challenge, even for couples who share everything, for individuals who share everything, their most intimate things. And it's difficult for them to turn and look one another in the eye and have an open, honest conversation, and even say what they want more or less of in their sexual relationship. And that's just an example that goes across for many parts of their relationship. But to be able to do this, and can we just encourage you for every aspect of your marriage, to be able to turn to your partner and say what you want more or less of. And my friends, if your partner does that, if your spouse does that, please seek to understand so they'll continue to do that. Healthy couples actually have partnership that will repeat back or listen or really want their partner to say what they want more or less of.
Right. Yeah, that was very well done there, babe.
There you
Good
go.
job.
Is that complete? Do you have anything to add to that? You're soaking that in. Are you taking notes on this?
I'm not taking notes on this, but I was also thinking, as you were sharing that, I was thinking about, okay, what about the people out there? Because we could have some listeners right now that maybe things aren't going so well, right, with their marriage or relationship, and they know they need to make a change, but they might be listening to this and be like, oh my gosh, well, my person's never going to say that back to me or whatever. So here's the encouragement, is that even if one of you starts using some of these phrases, a change will happen. And so it's like we go back to the old adage, right? Doing the same thing over and over. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over, but expecting different results, right?
Yep.
And so we could have some listeners that there's a real struggle happening in the relationship. And it could be that one person is going to make that change. The person who's listening today is going to say, you know what? I'm going to start trying some of these. I'm going to start saying, hey, thanks so much for, taking care of those dishes that I left in the sink. And your partner may look at you kind of like you've got three heads. Let them look at you like you have three heads, right? I mean, because eventually over time, when we start injecting some of these things, even if it's just the one side of you, your equation will change, because the outcome will be a little bit different. And so just like with this one, it may be hard for both people to grasp a hold of this, or for the one person to go and say, hey, you know what, we should be trying? We should say, I really like more of this, or I really want less of this. And the other person could be like, I'm not doing that. And so just be encouraged today if it only is one of you that's attempting to try some of these different ways of communication, right? And you might be surprised at the response of your spouse or your partner, and that it really can flip the script.
Yeah.
So,
hey, it's an excellent reminder, folks. Remember this: is that if you want to lose weight, for instance, start with just one thing you're doing differently in your daily diet. Like, my hands up. The thing that helps me the most is to cut out Starbucks. That syrupy, sugary drinks kind of thing.
Right.
It's like the latte kind of drinks, right? And as soon as I cut those out, I notice a difference in my health. And now, that doesn't mean I did a whole bunch of other stuff. At one point, it was giving up a daily ice cream. Theresa can attest to this. I used to have a bowl of ice cream almost every night, right?
You came from a family that was an ice cream family. They ate ice cream on a regular basis, especially during the summer. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So
ice cream every night. And if you aren't from a family like that, and you shake your head, just stop judging me, okay? But I don't do it anymore.
We hear the judgment coming through.
I can sense the judgment. But I'm telling you what, those were good times, but it really didn't make a difference in health. And so cutting out certain things, just do one thing. Right. In your relationship, even if you're not super unhealthy in your relationship, maybe you're just kind of okay and mediocre. Do one thing. Thing. The final thing is number 7, and this is one thing that you can pick up if you're not already doing this, and that is couples that are healthy use the phrase, they share with one another on a regular basis their high and low from their day and their week.
Right.
They share, the principle behind it is that they share about their lives, the everyday kind of mundane, kind of even boring things. But the one tool, and there are many out there, but one tool is share a high and low from your day. And so couples that do this on a regular basis open up their lives to, it's like our puzzles, right? Right,
exactly. And once again, with a high-low concept, there's no need to really respond in any particular way. You're just listening to your partner. No need to solve anything. If the low in their day was, something happened at work or whatever, there's no need for you to help solve or fix that. It's just truly listening to what happened. And if your high is always, my high is coming home to you, that is great. But there are going to have to be moments where you're going to have to dig a little deeper and be more specific about something that's a high low. But yeah, we need to be able to just kind of like share. Yeah. And like we say, you don't have to do that one every single day, but it could be a high low from the week. Something that you really loved, that was great, and something that you didn't like so much, that wasn't great.
And finally, with that, I'd encourage make sure it's reciprocated. Don't be like you share and then you don't turn around and say, "Hey, can you share your high and low as well?" And believe me, as for some of you, when I say that, it feels real odd. Like, well, yeah, why wouldn't we both share? But some of you listening need to be reminded that yes, share your high and low, or share your area, your puzzle or whatever, but make sure you turn and listen to your partner's high and low or puzzle or whatever it may be. Make sure that it's a mutually beneficial, reciprocal relationship. Both of you are giving and receiving through these points of communication. So we hope that that's a helpful list for you today, and that's beneficial and that you apply it. We really hope the podcast overall is value added to your marriage, your relationship today. So as we close, as we do every single week, is we have a verse of the day. So the verse of the week is...
It is going to be Hebrews 3:13. Says, but encourage one another daily, as long as it is called today, so that none of you may be hardened by sin's deceitfulness.
Very nice.
Encourage one another daily. Hebrews 3:13.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Hey, folks, thanks for joining us this week. And just remember, as always, we want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share. And if you fill out, we'd really love it if you fill out a review, especially on Apple iTunes. Yeah, of course, we're found on so many platforms, but whatever platform you use, make sure you're rating, reviewing. If you're an Apple listener, make sure you're write that review. And once again, to repeat, go back to hit that little button, that share button, and whether it's sharing via email, via social media, or direct a text message to a friend where you're copying and pasting. When you do that, you're joining with us in pouring into other couples. We're joining together. We're doing this together of strengthening couples so they have greater satisfaction and impact on the world around them. Now, I'm telling you what, when you share, you're doing that second part, impact on the world around you. So I'm telling you what, there are a number of you out there that have been listening to us. We've got like 20 episodes in the can now. You've been listening to every single one of them. You are the top of the list to be able to turn and share with someone that you know so that others can be encouraged. And we thank you for doing that. We really appreciate it. We hope that you have a wonderful week, and we will talk to you again next Tuesday.
All right. Bye-bye.